Hi guys, welcome back to Schools by Sam. Happy Monday. Hope you are doing good. And in Mondays, we have two puzzles that we play here on the channel. So, easy one, usually the first one of the week, and a bonus puzzle from the newsletter that we get a few puzzles from the community recommended by Sam and some made by Sam themselves. And we play the hardest one that we get on the Monday. So, yeah, good day. Good day. I hope I don't get anything wrong today, but I can't promise you anything. I do swear I'm probably getting sick because I've been feeling it since Saturday, but we're gonna push through and I'm gonna explain the logic as I solve. So if you need any help or if you're new to Close by Sam, sit down and be welcome to follow along with me. You can click the link in the description if you want to play first. Otherwise, let's start. We start with Nick telling us that Jane is one of Olaf's three innocent neighbors. Okay, Jane and Olaf are both here. If we double click Nick's clue, we can see that both of their names are highlighted, sort of, and both of them are innocent. So Jane is an innocent actually, but Olaf has three innocent neighbors, and Nick is also one of them. So we know about two, which means that Olaf has one more innocent neighbor that we have to figure out. So let's leave Nick's clue there to remind us of that in the future. Jane then says that two criminals in her row are on the edges. So there's two people in her row who are on the edges, Helen and Kevin. Both of them then have to be criminals. We don't know about Isaac though, because he's not on the edge, so it could be that he's a criminal as well. Now, Helen, we can dismiss the clues by clicking on them so that we don't need any more information from that clue. We can let it sort of go dim and then we don't come back to it because it's not going to be giving us any new information. Helen says that Zara has exactly two innocent neighbors. So we double click here, see that Zara is down here, the last one in column D, and she has three people who neighbor her that are innocent. She has three people who neighbor her total. Two of those are going to be innocents. But one important thing here is that Zara and Olaf share two people as neighbors, Sophia and Tyler. And we can't have Zara have both of her innocent neighbors be those two people shared with Olaf, because that would give Olaf too many innocents. We know that Olaf has only three from Nick. So one of these guys here is going to be an innocent and the other one is going to be a criminal. So we mark them, we tag them with the same color here, yellow. And that means that one of them is an innocent, the other yellow is going to be a criminal. We still don't know who is what yet. Then we know that the second and last innocent neighbor for Zara is Xavi, her last neighbor. Now Xavi says that one innocent above him is neighboring Ryan. Ryan is right here in column B, and he has two people neighboring him who are above Xavi. So Nick's one of them, and Nick is an innocent. That means that the one innocent above Ryan neighboring, the one innocent above Xavi neighboring Ryan is Nick, and Sophia is not. And now we know that Tyler is the last innocent for both Olaf and Zara here. Then Tyler says that no number of innocents in column C neighbor Isaac. So Isaac is also in column B and he has three people in column C neighboring him. Two of them are already innocents, but that's not enough number. We need the third person and that has to be Emily. Let's make her an innocent as well. Now she says that both innocents in row 2 are connected. So that lets us know that there's a second innocent in row 2. The first one is Jane and the only one who could be the second one is Isaac, the last person in that row. Isaac tells us straight up that Wally is innocent. And Wally says that two of the three innocents in column D are Sophia's neighbors. In column D, so Sophia is in column C and there's three people neighboring her in that column. One of them is already an innocent, so there's going to be one more innocent neighboring her. So either Olaf or Zara here, and the other one of them is going to be a criminal. And we know there has to be three innocents in column D. So Tyler, one of these guys, the third one has to be Floyd, who says that only one of the two painters has a criminal directly above them. So both painters are here in column A. We have Lucy and Peter. One of them already has a criminal above them, Lucy, so that means that Peter couldn't. That makes Lucy herself an innocent. And Lucy says there are more criminals and innocents above Ryan. Above Ryan, there's 3 people. One of them is an innocent, so the other 2 have to be criminals so that we have more criminals. 2 is more than 1. Now, Donna, one of the criminals, says that column B has more criminals than any other column. And we know that column D is going to have 2 criminals, even though we haven't revealed all of them yet. We know that the tags indicate that a second criminal is going to be revealed. And that makes it so that column B has to have 3 criminals, which makes Ryan have to be the 3rd one. Ryan then says that Peter and Olaf have an equal number of criminal neighbors. Olaf has 2, so Peter has to have 2, and he already does, Barry and Ryan, so Vicky becomes an innocent. Vicky says that Peter has more criminal neighbors than Donna, so Peter has 2, Donna could only have 1, and she does. Helen here neighbors her and is a criminal, so that makes Betty an innocent, and Betty says that all innocents below her are connected. So below her doesn't count herself. So there's 2 innocents below her, Lucy and Vicky, who are currently not connected. They will be if we make Peter an innocent. And Peter says there are as many innocent painters as there are innocent pilots. So we double click the clue and it works as well for professions. We can double click it and see all of the professions highlighted. So 2 painters, 2 pilots, and 2 painters are innocents, which makes 2 pilots innocents. And that makes Zara our last criminal here because she's opposite with the last pilot. Okay, good. I did a speed round there, both in the explanation, so I tried to solve it hard and it did work. Very proud of that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's jump into the evil puzzle for this week. I'm thinking about playing the hardest community puzzle that Sam recommended tomorrow as well. So let me know if you're interested. I haven't played a community puzzle in a while. And if you want to subscribe to the newsletter, of course, you come back here in the homepage and you can scroll down and see that there's a, oh, you can't see because this is on the way. But right here we have a subscribe option where you type your email address and you're gonna receive right in your inbox bonus puzzles every week. Back to the bonus one. So this one is an evil one. I'm both excited and scared. Let's see how this goes. We start with Uma telling us that only one of the 3 innocents in column D is Gary's neighbor. So Gary is in column C, and he has 3 people in column D who neighbor him. So if only one of those 3 is going to be an innocent, we have to have 3 innocents in column D. Uma is one of them, and there's only Zed who doesn't neighbor Gary. So Zed has to be the 3rd one. Now, Zed says there are no innocents to right of Alex, who neighbor Hazel. So either Claire or Deborah. None of them are going to be innocent, so both actually are criminal. Claire then says that there are more innocents in row 1 than row 2. Ooh, we don't know about any innocents in row 2 yet. Deborah says Gary has exactly 2 innocent neighbors. Gary has one of them here in column D, so we can tag them as opposites here, Hazel and Max, because only one of them is going to be an innocent. So that's 1 innocent. There are more innocents in row 1 than row 2, and Gary has 2 innocent neighbors. So that means that we can't put the second innocent neighbor for Gary in a row 2. I guess we can't make both Hazel and Freya innocents neighboring Gary here in row 2, because that would make it impossible for both. Yeah, but that's it's I guess. Oh my god. Okay, we can't make both of them innocents because that would force row 1 to have 3 innocents to have more than 2, and it's impossible. There's only 2 people left in row 1. And even if we make only one of them an innocent, there would have to be 2 innocents in row 1 then to make more innocents in row 2. But that does work. Because then everybody else in Neighbors Gary is a criminal. I guess the thing is, can we make Gary an innocent? No, we can't. Unless Hazel is a criminal. Can Bruce ever be a criminal? Because if Bruce is a criminal... I mean, there could be a second innocent neighboring Gary in row 3. And it wouldn't break the math. Oh no, it would. It would. It would. Unless both innocents are in row 3, neighboring Gary. How do I decide on that? Is it Freya then? Because if I make Freya an innocent, then both Alex and Bruce have to be innocent. That works. I mean, that works. Oh, Max is an innocent here. Oh yeah, so that doesn't work actually. Because if I make Freya an innocent, that forces both Alex and Bruce to be innocents so that row 1 has more innocents than row 2. And also Hazel to be a criminal for the same reason. But then making Hazel a criminal forces Max to be an innocent, and Gary has one more innocent than he should. So Freya has to be a criminal actually. Freya then says that Zed is the only one with exactly one criminal neighbor. So either Tina or Xena here are gonna be a criminal. Zed is the only one in the whole board with one criminal neighbor. So Deborah has to have a second criminal neighbor, which is okay. Alex has to have a second criminal neighbor. Gary has 2 innocent neighbors. I mean, one thing that we can't do is Emily being an innocent, because if she is, then both Alex and Bruce become innocents. And now Alex has only one criminal neighbor, but only Zed has one criminal neighbor, so no. Emily says there are exactly 2 innocents in row 5. I'm not gonna try and find more things from that one clue, because I've been noticing that getting a new clue usually may push you forward instead of trying to find all of the scenarios from that one clue that could happen. So there are exactly 2 instances in row 5. How does that help me? How does that help me? One thing that maybe I do have to keep trying with that previous clue, because let's say, but the clue is talking about criminals. So Deborah has to have a second criminal neighbor. Could she have 2 criminal neighbors? If that happens, either way, one of these guys is gonna have to be an innocent, which is fine. Can we make Gary an innocent? If we do we run into somebody with only one criminal neighbor? I don't think we do. Uma has 2, Zed is only gonna have 1, that's his thing. Hazel has 2 already. So yeah, not an issue. And if we change Hazel to be an instant here. Everybody in row 3 becomes a criminal, which is also fine. Gary has exactly 2 instant neighbors. That's what I'm doing. There are more instants in row 1 than row 2. But there could be 0. 2 instants in row 5. I mean, what happens if I make Xena the second instant? That doesn't break anything. And if I make Xena one of the criminals in Wally the second instant, the only thing that would happen is that Rose would have to be a criminal. So that Xena has... Oh no. Rose would have to be an innocent so that Xena doesn't have only one criminal neighbor. I think we have to figure out this thing here about row 1 and row 2. Because if I make both of these guys criminals, and row 1 has only one innocent, could Alex be that innocent? Can Bruce be the criminal in this case? Yeah. But then Logan would have to be a criminal here so that Uma has 2 criminal neighbors. So that gave me an insight. I think we can't make Logan an innocent because if we do, Max has to be a criminal so that Uma has a second criminal and isn't left with one, which is Zed's thing. Then Hazel would become an innocent. And then both guys here in row 1 would have to be innocents because Hazel is one innocent in row 2 and there has to be more than that in row 1. Now Gary has too many innocents, so Logan is actually always a criminal. Now Logan says 2 of the 4 innocents neighboring Tina are in row 5 versus Tina. Tina has 4 innocents and 4 criminals neighboring her. And 2 of those 4 innocents are in row 5, so either Wally or Xena are the second innocent in row 5 that Emily says there's only 2, which makes Vince a criminal. Now, if Tina has 3 innocent neighbors already, Uma, Zed, and somebody here in row 5, what happens? When we make... I'm gonna do something here. I'm gonna make Xena a criminal because that will make both Tina and Wally innocent. Now Xena doesn't have any criminal neighbors and she couldn't have one only, so Rose would have to become an innocent as well. And that makes Tina have her 4 innocent neighbors. So Kevin and Max here would both have to be criminals, forcing row 1 to have 2 innocents. So that's a good chain that works. I'm guessing now we can't ever make Gary an innocent, but I'm still not sure. If I make the opposite happen though, Xena and innocent, and Tina and Wally both criminals. Vince would have to have a second criminal. Let me try my hunch about Gary. Can I make Gary an innocent? I can, but can I make Kevin an innocent? And in this case, Tina's, because we know that Wally and Xena here are opposites, so Tina's last innocent neighbor is Max, which makes Rose a criminal. And in this scenario, we couldn't have Xena be a criminal, right? Because that would make that thing I said where if she's a criminal, she can't have Rose be a criminal. So Xena is an innocent. That's fine. Fine by me. But if I make Rose an innocent, then both Kevin and Max have to be criminals. Which is Xena's scenario, so that's fine. Can I ever make Kevin an innocent? If I do that, Max becomes a criminal because of Tina, as does Rose. And that breaks. Because now row one will have to have both these guys be innocent so that it has more than the one innocent in row two. And Gary ends up with too many. So Kevin is in fact a criminal. Who says that only one person in row four has four criminal neighbors? It's Tina. We know about Tina. So that means that Rose couldn't have four. And Rose has four currently. I mean, Paul couldn't have four either. Hmm? Rose? Hmm. Oh yeah, Gary's second innocent neighbor has to be Bruce now. Oh, and he does give us a new clue. There's an odd number of innocent neighbor in Max. Okay. We know that Gary. Can Gary be an innocent now? Because if that happens, that forces Tina to be an innocent so that Max has an odd number of innocents. Tina being an innocent makes Xena criminal and Wally innocent. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And that breaks Xena. So actually, no. Gary has to be a criminal. That didn't give me any clue. So how do I deal with that? Oh, okay. So now we know that either both Tina and Hazel are criminals, so that Max keeps an odd number of innocents, or both of them are innocents. And if both of them are criminals, Then Paul becomes a criminal because of Vance having to have two criminal neighbors. So it's two here. Xena has two. Vance has two. And Tina has her four. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tina has 5. No, 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 no. Why did Rose become an innocent? Did I do that? Did I do that wrong? Did I do that wrong? So this is fine. What if I make both of them incense though? Then Xena becomes a criminal and Wally an innocent. Rose has to be an innocent as well. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it works for Xena. Rose is always an innocent? No, because we just made her a criminal. It didn't matter. But now Alex has to be an innocent. But that also doesn't matter, I don't think. Who are we looking at here? And now number of instances than we're in Max. More instances in row 1 than row 2. I mean, making Rose a criminal makes Tina and Wally both criminals because of Xena, which forces Max to be an innocent because of Tina, which in turn makes Max have a number of innocents, which is just 1. But that works. That's good. So now do we have to look at people in row 4 who have 4 criminal neighbors? Paul has 4 currently. So he would have to have John be a criminal. Rose has a lot. So John is a criminal. But if I make Rose an innocent, then Xena has to be. It doesn't matter. Does it? I mean, it does. Tina has 4 innocents. I'm a little lost here. Again. Tina has 4. Xena has no criminals, which is good. Paul would not end up with 4 criminals, so that's fine. But then Rose has 4. So John would have to be a criminal again. So that Rose doesn't end up with 4. Okay. And if it's the opposite, if Rose is an innocent and Xena is an innocent as well, what happens? 1, 2, 3, 4. Max becomes a criminal. That doesn't work for Max. Because Tina and Hazel have to be the same thing. So what we learned? I don't know what we learned. But I think it's about John. I think it's about John. We just try to make... If we make Xena an innocent, Rose has to be a criminal, which makes John a criminal, so that Paul has more than 4 criminals. And if we make Xena an innocent, this is the scenario I had before. 3. Yeah, like, this is sort of tied. There's no way to not get this configuration if Xena is an innocent. But if she's a criminal, Rose becomes an innocent for Tina. And then because of Rose... No, but I'm forgetting about Paul. Paul could be a criminal as well. So that doesn't force... Rose having 4 criminals here doesn't force John to be a criminal. So that's wrong. That's wrong. Yeah. I was gonna say that Max has only 1 criminal neighbor, but now she has 2, Gary and Logan here. Wally has 2 as well, so no problem there. Vince would have to make Paul an innocent, actually, if these 2 guys... So it does force John to be a criminal. Vince forces Paul to be an innocent because Vince couldn't end up with only 1 criminal neighbor, so John would have to be a criminal. Okay, we were right. It just took a lot of people to get there. John then said that there are more criminals in column B than column D. So we know the total for column C. I was gonna say that we knew the total for column B, but we don't. We're gonna have to redo the whole thing. If we did both Rose and Wally here innocents, then what happens is 2 criminals in each column B and column D, so that can't be. We have to have somebody here be a criminal. And that happens only when Hazel is an innocent and Max a criminal. No, opposite. Hazel is a criminal, Max is an innocent. And Hazel has to be the same as Tina, so Tina becomes a criminal. And that gives 3 criminals to column D, but we still need Rose to be a criminal as well. 3 criminals to column B, sorry. Yeah. Good. So that's it. Because I feel like there's so many things tied together right now that I'm unsure of the next step. But it has to be this. Just don't know where to start. But the opposite scenario doesn't work. Like, let's try to make Xena a criminal. It forces the whole thing. right? And then it breaks the new clue we got. So Xena has to actually be an instance. And that's a lot of people at once who are solved. Now Tina has her 4 instance, so Rose becomes a criminal. Tina then says that Rose has only one instant neighbor on the edges, and that's Tina, so Rose has to make Paul a criminal. Paul says there are 5 instants total, so our 5 instants are revealed: Bruce, Max, Uma, Zed, and Tina. That makes Alex a criminal. Good. Didn't take me that long. Oof, it took me longer than I felt I was taking. But it's really good. I really like it. Proud of myself for not getting any yellows today. I think we can see that I'm not on my best shape, but I did really good. And I appreciate you guys for joining on my puzzling quest. Um, oh, announcement. I did finish Riven. I'm gonna link the playlist here on the video if you want to watch the VODs. But it was a whole saga. I want to talk more about that. And I'll leave you guys here for today. See you tomorrow for more Clues by Sam. Bye bye.